Welcome to the AI Lab Unfiltered podcast. This is a special edition podcast that we have today.
Yeah.
If you can guess, it's a Halloween edition. Right, Pete?
That would be a good guess for sure.
I am hard rock and has been Drew Veach, and I'm joined by
geriatric Tom Cruise as Maverick.
So we got a fun episode today. It's you and I, and this is something you've been wanting to do for a while. You've been wanting to talk about AI myths.
Yes.
Right?
I thought you were going to say dress up.
Well, yes, that's true too.
Yes.
But so tell me why you wanted to do AI myths.
Well, I think it comes from all the conversations that you and I have. And there is, and it's not everyone, but there is hesitancy around certain things around AI. And it's just like anything else. Take AI out of it. Things that you hear in the news, you're hearing one version of the story, you're not getting all the facts behind it. AI is no different. I mean, there's a lot of people get drawn into different theories about how AI works or what it does or doesn't do. And so by calling it out in myth form, just want to try to bring some clarity around some certain topics around AI and hopefully dispel some of those myths.
Awesome. Lay one on me. What do you got?
All right. So the first one is that AI is conscious.
Oh, okay. Like it's like sentient conscious or
yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There are people who believe that. And even within some of these, like OpenAI researcher came out a year ago and said, hey, this new model is conscious, and freaked a bunch of people out. Other people make the same claim. I see it on Reddit. Anytime a new model comes out, like, ooh, this is AGI or ASI or whatever it is. So I just wanted to kind of talk through that. First of all, if you can find a agreed upon definition of consciousness that everyone agrees on, then you found something that I haven't found. So if you don't have a clear definition of what consciousness is, how do you say whether or not something is conscious or not?
Right.
There are people who believe that this skeleton here, because it's made up of matter, has some kind of consciousness to it. How do you evaluate that? Because we don't have an agreed upon definition of that. Much like AGI, the artificial general intelligence, there's no one definition that everybody agrees on for that. So the goalposts keep moving back as the models get better. And it's the same with consciousness here. One way that I think about it is that the AI is not sitting in a room waiting for me to ask it a question. Like it's not available and waiting for me. It reacts to my input. It's a very reactive thing. It's not sitting there,
contemplating
and
to throw another Tom Cruise reference in there. It's not Dead Reckoning or Dead Reckoning 2.
Yeah. Much like Top Gun 3, which we're
going to use as many Tom Cruise references as we can.
I think the thrilling scene in Top Gun 3 is when he gets picked up by Aeromed because he fell out of his rocking chair. Anyway,
well, I think if you think it's a conscious, because we always seem to get to the next level of AI every time it comes out. Like you said, every time it comes out, a new version of it. But this is it. It's going to take over everything. Yeah. It's going to take over the world. The Terminators are coming, which I still believe they are. But I think we're still at the tip of the iceberg of where this is actually going. And then people start using it, and then they go, oh, well, I guess it doesn't work as well as what we thought.
Yeah. We anthropomorphize everything.
Yeah.
And, we call our cars by a certain name. We try to attribute human traits to the things that are around us because we're human. We want to have a relationship with things. And so we give them these characters and all of that. So, and this isn't anything new. I found a study, an article going back to 1966. MIT created this thing called ELIZA, and it was kind of like a automated therapist, and it would repeat your words back to you, and you're like, oh, it's listening to me because it's it's saying what I'm saying back to it, which is a good therapy technique. But people back then, like the doctor who created this, his secretary was like, hey, can I have some time alone with Eliza so I can do a therapy session? And there was thoughts then that it was conscious then, and it wasn't then, just like it's not now. It's a predictive model that will give you output based off of what it's been trained on. So
I think that kind of thinking that it's conscious is a risky business. I'm just trying to get as many Tom Cruise references as I could.
That was well done.
Thanks.
That was well done. Ready to move on to the next one?
What's number 2?
Number 2. That AI is going to drain all of the lakes and the oceans from all of the water that it uses.
Wait, say that again. This one I have not heard.
You've not heard all the resource hog things that have been going against AI as far as like water.
I've heard like it uses a lot of electricity and it's using up those resources, but I haven't heard anything about draining water.
So the data centers that run the backbone of AI, they need cooling, and a lot of that comes from water, like evaporative cooling, and the power plants that feed the data centers, they use a lot of water as well. So it's not that it doesn't use water. That's not the myth. The myth is that a single query, a single question, give me some Tom Cruise references to use in a podcast. That doesn't use a gallon of water when you ask AI that. In what they've measured, it's really down to like a small sip, like less than 1/10 of a teaspoon of water for the average query that goes into AI.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that factual, or is that something that you're just making up?
It is factual as far as what the AI told me. So maybe it's gaslighting me. It's like,
no, I am not using electricity.
Yeah, because it's conscious and it's trying to protect itself. Now it's saying, well, give him some false information and he'll spread it on his podcast, and that will become the new narrative. So, okay.
Have we seen like because I get like it has to be water cooled. I mean, that's the best way that you're going to do it. But have they seen like any industrial byproducts coming from that, or like to promote that myth?
The myth comes from people who know that it's using water. And I don't think there's ill intentions there. I think a lot of people are just like, hey, we're not trying to say don't use AI, but just be aware that there are going to be impacts of the use of AI. So I think a lot of it's well intended, because if you don't pay attention to it, then next thing you know, you call it water, call it the electrical grid, whatever. If you're not planning for those things ahead of time, you could run into an issue.
Yeah.
But the big model, Microsoft and Google especially, have both come out and made claims that by 2030 they're actually going to be water positive. Which I tried to figure out what that meant, and it's not well defined, but they're very aware of the idea that they are consuming water and most of the water goes into training the model, not in the inference that we do daily back and forth with it. They are also paying very special attention to, if I build a data center in a cooler climate or underwater or something like that, then I don't need as much cooling because it's already cool where the data center is. So they're trying to be smarter about
that makes
how
sense.
they're building it.
That's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah, building different hardware architecture to make it less necessary to use water and other ways to cool the chips. So that's
cool.
Yeah, I thought so. That's why I put it on here.
I just didn't know if they were like talking to people that are saying, "Oh no, it's consuming water." It's
there are people that are very concerned and saying it's drying up the lakes and all these kinds of things. So,
and they're interviewing them. Was it Interview with a Vampire?
I don't know if I
told you I'm going to work in every. I only know like 2 more movies, so it'll go quick.
Good. Well, I've got like 3 more of these. So,
all right. What's your third one?
That the AI is being trained on all of my data is a myth.
Okay, explain that one a little bit more.
So people
Like
are
define that a little bit, because it is getting trained if you allow it to on certain stuff.
right, and so that's more what I want to point out here, because in you know, I have conversations with people all the time about there's a hesitancy to use it, especially if they're using it for work purposes. They don't want to, you know, they might put a client name in there, or maybe they're even using their own private information and they're worried about this information being fed to the model. And then if somebody were to search about Pete, they know everything about Pete that I told my AI because I used AI. And that's not at all how it works. So first of all, if you're using a free version of an AI model, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever, the free versions typically by default are using your information to train the model. It's part of what the trade-off is. They're getting help from you, and you're getting the model for free.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go to the paid version, and even with some models with the free version, you can toggle that on and off. So if you go into the settings, you can go in there and you can say, hey, don't train the model with my data. I'm going to talk about what training the model is in a second too, because it's not what a lot of people think. But if you're doing the paid version, you definitely have the ability to toggle and say, don't train the model with my data. If you then go to an enterprise version of that, so ChatGPT has teams, by default, it does not. There's not even a toggle. You can't turn it on and say, train the model with my data. It's just like, hey, this is an enterprise. We know you're using it for work. We're just not going to train the model with your data. So just bringing awareness of that you do typically have an option, but the higher up you go with the models, they take the privacy a lot more seriously.
And I know a lot of people think that, if I put my information in there, that someone's going to be able to access it. Like I'm a enterprise that sells something, and here are my sales stats. I put it in there to configure into a spreadsheet or something, that you're going to be able to go in and say, give me all the sales stats of what they're doing over there. It doesn't work that way at all.
Absolutely does not work that way. So when let's talk about training the model. So what these companies have done, let's just talk about OpenAI. So what they did is they sent bots out to grab all the information on the internet that they could possibly get access to. And we're not going to talk about copyright or anything like that here. They just said the world has been digital for a long time. Even things that weren't digital have been digitized, which means that all of the human learning and all the information is out there. If we can grab that and we can bring it all in, we can start to tell the computer what words typically come after other words. So it's a prediction model, and they're assigning weights to certain words. So if I were to say, finish this sentence, the sky is, and you would say, hopefully you'd say blue.
Vanilla sky. That's what I would say. That's the last. I don't know any other movies.
I hope you don't know any more.
Everything's Mission Impossible after that.
So that's
you kind of teed that one up for me. Let's just say that.
I did. We did not plan that. I would not have planned that. Let's just say I wouldn't have agreed to that ahead of time. But it's a predictive model. So they're assigning what they call weights. So when you submit your query in, it digitizes and assigns numbers to every letter and word and letter in what you did. And then there's math that's running in the background to say, okay, in our response, we're going to use the words in the most highest probability in that response, because that's what we saw when we scoured the internet.
Yeah.
This is what people were saying before. So we're just going to say what people have said before in a coherent way. So
it essentially pulls it apart in a digital format and reconfigures it to answer what you're saying based on what everybody's input has been in there, because it's looking for predictive and repetition in what everybody's inputting in there.
Exactly. So when you allow a model to train on your data, so these queries that are going into into ChatGPT, you're just giving it more examples of how those words go in a certain order.
Right.
it's not going to, if somebody says, tell me everything you know about Pete, it's not going to come up with the things that came from my chats. Now it would be trained off of things that it's seen on the internet. Like it will know about my LinkedIn page. It will know about my Facebook page and Instagram, and it'll have all of that, but it won't pull up my chats and say, here's what Pete said on September 25th, about Drew or, whatever it is. So,
well, and that's how GEO works, is it's pulling it from the web. Essentially, it's not pulling it from other chats. It's pulling it from the web to then pull in something from your FAQs page or something in context to answer your question from a website. I mean, that's literally how GEO works.
I don't even know what GEO is.
We'll have to do a whole episode on that. That's actually really cool.
All right. You don't want to do it right now?
No. It's generative engine optimization. So think of it, I don't want to say, I'm hesitant to say it's the new SEO, because GEO is not replacing SEO, search engine optimization. It's actually another layer on top of that. Search engine optimization uses long tail and short tail keywords that you're adding to your website. GEO is much more direct sentence context structure. When you go onto a website, like, for example, FAQs are beautiful to put on your website to get pulled into GEO. So you're on ChatGPT. Everybody's using it like a search engine now.
Yeah.
And you type in, I want to know what the best IT service provider company in Grand Rapids is. Here's New Wave. It comes up and it says, yeah, New Wave is because of this, this, and this. And it'll give you that answer in context, because it pulls something off of your website that answers that exact question.
Got it.
So think of it like a sentence, like it's not just keywords now. It's a sentence that's very direct. There's no fluff to it. There's no marketing jargon to it. Yeah.
Unless you put that in your FAQ.
Yeah.
And then
unless you put it. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
There's your fun fact for today.
Thank you. Way better than your Tom Cruise references. Here's the next one. And there's no solution for AI hallucinations. And for people who don't know what a hallucination is, I know we've talked about it on here plenty of times, but it is where the AI will confidently give you the wrong answer to a question.
Yeah.
And that there's a bunch of reasons for that, but these large companies, the Googles, the OpenAIs of the world, Microsoft, they're trying to solve for this, because one of the barriers for people adopting AI is that they know that they're getting the wrong answer sometimes. And that's not what you want. If you want to get the right answer, of course.
Yeah.
So the reason that this one was on my mind is that OpenAI came out a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we think we have the solution for hallucinations. And I'm going to talk through some of that here. But then they released another paper after that said, well, there always will be, and here's the math as to why. So whether or not this is a myth or not is just a good, I think, topic to talk about. But there are plans in place that these companies are adopting that will hopefully reduce hallucinations. And at least for me, it will allow me to use it more. And I already use it a heck of a lot, but I have to do a lot of verification after the fact. So it is saving me time in certain areas, but having to go and fact check my AI assistant, it takes more time. I'd love it much more if I didn't feel like I had to go back and do that. So one thing is something that we talked about here called RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. And that is the idea that when you're putting a query into ChatGPT, you're also uploading a document or documents, or maybe a folder of documents of data that you trust. And you're asking it to only answer based off of the data that you've given it. So that's RAG. So if you're not doing that right now, regardless of anything else that these models are going to do to improve, you can improve your own search results just by using RAG today. And that's available with every model can do that. That's not a new thing. They're also doing something called abstention, where they're training the model to be able to say, I don't know. And it doesn't like to do that right now. It will give you an answer to everything, no matter what.
Even if it is a hallucination.
Even if it is a hallucination.
Yeah.
And sometimes even with RAG, unless you in your prompt can really spell out like, hey, if you can't point to something specific, it's okay for you to say, I don't know. But because these models are trained to please us, it always wants to give you an answer. And we all know people like this that they'll give you an answer whether they know the answer or not, just because they want to feel like they're part of the conversation or they're just a bullshitter. Who
most
knows?
of those people are full of shit.
Yeah. And AI is too, and unless they can, and they are working on improving this where they're saying, hey, if you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know. That's not a bad thing. But they're incentivized in the way that they're programmed to give you an answer. Because
Well, the way they're programming it is because right now it's programmed to you have to give an answer. And if it doesn't have an exact answer, that's where it will deduce and computationally create something that's I want to say hallucinogenic. That's the rock star in me that hallucinates. But to add in, like you said, add in a possible answer is now I don't know, or I don't have that information as a possible. Here's an option as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
And being okay to say you don't know. The next thing that they talked about is chain of verification as part of the process. So when you ask a question, it is going to formulate an initial response. But before it gives you that response, it's going to come up with a series of questions to validate that response. And it will go through and answer those. And if everything lines up with the research that it does, then it gives you a final output. So it's more, and you're kind of seeing this with these reasoning models like ChatGPT-5 when it's doing the slow thinking, and it's doing some of that in the background. But this is way more intentional to reduce hallucinations, and they're calling it chain of verification.
But that just makes it, I mean, that just, because how many times have you added something in and say, okay, I don't have all the information. I have all the information in my head, but you got to draw it out. Can you ask me a series of questions one at a time that I can answer to then make this prompt better to get my answer? I mean, that's perfect. Yeah. That really then distills down into the exact answer you're looking for.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard, even if you're trying to do it like what you just described. It's hard to think of the questions to add on to try to get the right answer. So the fact that it's going to do it for you, and like everything, and you and I have said this a million times, this is the worst that it's going to be. Today is the worst it's going to be. This is going to keep getting better and better. Then the questions that it asks will get better and to help verify that.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the last one. Okay. I saved it for last because it's a little more open-ended and we can probably pontificate on this one a little longer, is that AI is going to replace all jobs.
Yes. let me debunk that. Yes.
So you believe that AI is going to replace all jobs? No,
it's in the threat every time a model comes out, every time they build one new product or something, oh my God, this is it. Everybody go home, sit at home because you're done. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to, it economically can't even happen. And like we talked with Doug from The Right Place was saying the same thing, that it's not, you need people to run these models. You need people to maintain these models. It's still a machine at the end of the day, and it's still a tool in a chain until it becomes completely sentient, which I still think you're going to need people running this stuff. That I think people's jobs will evolve. I've always been pro about it's going to evolve your job. Learn it, as far as you don't have to learn how to make a solution for your company. Just understand what's out there, what opportunities and what threats are out there for how AI is going to disrupt your industry, and get a firm knowledge of that. Even if you don't want to implement anything AI, that's fine. But just understand how it's going to disrupt your industry so you're not left behind.
I agree with everything you just said. I go back and forth on this because
I do think it will replace some jobs. I mean, it's going to, because those jobs are just going to go away.
There are definitely, and it's already happened.
Right.
There are companies, Salesforce is one of them.
Yep.
They, what was it, 3,000?
4,000 people. It's like half their workforce they laid off.
Yeah. So it's a real thing.
It's not going well.
Well, they're not the first company to try it.
Right.
Other companies have done it and then had to go back and hire the people back because it didn't go as well as they thought it was going to go. So it could happen with Salesforce too. I do go back and forth on this because I am a futuristic thinker. So I'd love to think about 10 years, 50 years in the future. Where does this technology go? And the further out you go, the easier it is for me to see that it's going to replace all jobs. Say all jobs. There are the cognitive jobs that people do, and then there's the physical jobs that people do.
Yeah.
And I think the robotics, when you meld AI and robotics together, I think you're going to be able to replace a lot of those physical jobs too. If you can teach a robot to fold laundry, I don't know how to fold laundry. If you can teach a robot how to do that, it's pretty intricate work. It's not a far leap from folding laundry to welding a beam, to raking the leaves, or whatever it is. But in the short term, I am not worried about most jobs in the short term. And I had a bit of an epiphany on this before our Tech Week presentation last week. The technology is moving forward at breakneck speed. The people are not. And the people that are integral to replacing jobs with AI are human leaders that most don't understand AI. They don't know where to start with it. We talk to people all the time about this, probably talk about it on every episode of this podcast, that the people part is what's going to hold this up. There are going to be a lot of companies that are years away from doing anything with AI because they don't understand it. They don't know where to start. They don't see what the real potential is. They've got their niche. They've got this great little company that just, got a good lifestyle business going. They're able to do their thing. They don't need AI now. So why do I need AI in the future? Everything's working great. The issue there, if you're one of those people, is that there's somebody that's doing the same thing that you are, and they can do it, and they're going to adopt AI, and they can do it cheaper, and they just squeeze you out of the market because they can create that widget for half the price.
Right.
Yeah, you had a good business, but you've got to adapt, just like you had to adapt to computers and the internet and electricity, cars, all these things that you had to adapt to. So in the short term, jobs are pretty safe. I would still, learn yourself up on AI, what it is.
Yep.
There's so much free learning. AI 101 classes, Google has them. OpenAI has them. You can just go and you can sign up for these things, take them for free. It's worth the investment. You have to understand what AI is and what it's going to do. And if you can start to apply it in your personal life and a little bit into your work life, it's going to enhance that and make it easier for you. For business leaders out there, you've got to come up with a plan. You have to have an AI strategy. You got to start. You don't have to start implementing it today, but you better start working on the plan today. Yeah. And you have to start figuring out where AI can be applied.
Start changing the mindset of your company and have a champion that can help change that mindset.
Yeah.
Someone that works with leadership, that leadership's bought into as well, where they're trying to change that mindset of the whole company to look for where those opportunities could be.
Exactly.
You don't have to come up with a solution. You just have to start exploring it with an open mind.
Yeah. If you don't know, somebody will.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to have people in your company that can make that leap from, oh, here's the problem. I understand what AI can do, and here's how to apply it. You don't have to be the one to do it, but empower the people in your organization to step in and help do that.
Yeah, the solution's always the easy part. It's finding the actual need, coming up with a question in the beginning,
right?
And how good is the data? Those are the two big things that you have to put in place in the beginning to even consider any kind of solution, AI or not.
That would actually be a great place to start. And I know you brought this up a couple of times, is the data side.
Yeah.
I almost said forget about AI. Don't forget about AI. But don't worry about implementing AI today if you don't have good data to start from. Like how do you know if AI is going to fix something if you don't know, if you're not measuring it today? Start measuring your processes today. Start figuring out those workflows and mapping those out. Once you have that, then AI is a much easier implementation once you have that in place.
Yeah, it's the tool. We went to the analogy before. It's a tool in a toolbox that if you're building your deck, do you need the hammer or to hammer the nail in, or do you need the power screwdriver to put the screws in?
Right.
There we go.
Do you don't have a Tom Cruise reference for putting the screws in?
I don't know. I don't know any other Tom Cruise movies offhand.
All right. That was it. That was my last myth.
That's awesome. That's cool. Well, I'm sure we'll have more. In fact, I would love to find out what you guys think. Like, do you guys have an AI myth that people are telling you that we're not addressing here or we haven't talked about on the show? I would love to see that in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for joining us on our Halloween episode. Please like and subscribe and drop us a comment. Thanks, everybody.